Welcome to I'mPossible Conversation. I'm your host Suki, and my goal is to introduce you to ordinary people that are doing awesome things, inspiring you and me and others. Follow our dreams. It's all about you and it's all about your story. Your story is unique, so different, and there are not worth it's not worth a comparison. Tonight my guest is Mel. Mel's mission is to inspire you. Her passion is to help you live the life of your dreams and life of your dreams and inspire life of your dreams and do the best that you can and be the best you can. So I'll invite you, Mel, in the stream in my live podcast now. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I feel
Oh,
honoured.
I'm so glad you said yes, because you are the woman with so much to tell and give to others. This is your time now, your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the most important thing is to be able to add value to other people's lives. And once you realize your own value, then it's so important to share with other people.
That's what you do all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can change other people's lives just with a smile and a kind word. So, I feel blessed to be here.
Yeah. Shall we start? Have you started? And maybe, well, whereabouts are you? Because I definitely know you're not from Newcastle.
No, I'm not. I'm in Rainham in Kent.
Oh.
I've lived here all my life. I was born in Somerset, obviously in the West Country, where I stayed with my dad when I was a small baby. And I, like most people, I had a bit of a difficult start. My mum was very ill. She had depression and she couldn't cope with her life. And probably it wasn't a good idea for her to have a baby. She knows and she understands that she was in a bad place.
Oh.
And so really, for me, it's about growing and progressing on from that. So when I was a baby, she left me with my dad for a while and came back to live in Kent. When I was one, I went and moved in with her and my stepdad. And it wasn't the easiest of upbringings, very challenging. It was a baby that wasn't wanted. And, it was born into a situation that was quite difficult, two people that had come together. And so it wasn't the happiest of spaces. And I know that social services got involved quite a bit, probably when I was about 13. And my stepdad moved out. And I didn't really know the full extent of the story until quite recently. And so when my stepdad left, obviously there was still bad stuff going on between me and my mum. I was a teenager. Teenagers kind of behave, don't they?
Yeah.
And start rebelling. And it's sort of since I've learned, as I've been mentored and coached, that, we get an imprint of our life and our paradigm from the age of 2 to 13. And this will carry all our beliefs from. So, you're ugly, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you'll never amount to anything, we never wanted you, those sorts of things. And they stay with you. And you base and create all your relationships around that. And when I was 16, I had a job in London. I'd failed epically at school, and my mum threw me out. And she had a very young boyfriend at the time, and this caused a lot of pain and anguish for me. Excuse me, I just took my phone out. And so I suppose what happened then, I was led into this boy's arms. He wasn't a boy, he was a man. He was 21 and I was 16. And he used to force me to have sex, with his hand around my neck and things like that. It was, I didn't realise at the time, but I only realised since that, that's rape, obviously. And then when I finally came away from that relationship, I was 17, and I directly met who was then going to be my husband, which was also a very destructive relationship that I stayed in for 27 years. I mean, he's a very good man and we're friends now, but together our dynamics were not good. I was very depressed. I didn't realise this. I was on a self-destruct, self-loathing, didn't want to be alive. I thought other people could do much better without me. And so, and during that time I had body dysmorphia, thought I was fat, ugly, would never achieve anything. It's all those things that I was told. I was also told that all men were abusers when I was little. So I had this thought in my mind. And when you've got that, you then create that with every relationship that you have. You end up creating your life from your own thoughts. And thoughts really do become things.
Yeah.
And then about 7 years ago, I had an argument with my daughter and it got really out of hand and I hit her. And for me, people say they hit rock bottom, and it was a turning point for me because I thought, oh my goodness, I've turned into my mum. I never wanted to hurt my own children. But I know that by staying in the relationship that I was in, I was hurting them every single day. That was 7 years ago. I then discovered Reiki, an energy healing lady. I discovered personal development. I found a book called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? Because I was thinking, oh gosh, will I ever be good enough? Because obviously I'd really hurt my daughter. And my ex-husband, he's now my ex-husband, said to me, sort yourself out or we can't be together. So at the time I thought everything was my fault. When I look back now, I know that everything's 50-50, everything, there's got to be darkness in your life,
Yeah.
So
So how did you come over and where you are now? Because you are now a successful coach and you help others.
Yeah, and I think for me it was a bit of a wake-up call for sure. And I knew that everything that I did had to be to progress me on forwards, baby steps. So that was a defining moment in my life. And my husband said to me, well, we can only stay together if you sort yourself out. Which I did. I worked very hard. I put some really good practices in place and started working on me and started listening to personal development books. I was cleaning people's houses, and suddenly I was realising that I had no self-esteem, I had no self-worth. I was allowing people to basically put me down and treat me less than they should have done. And I, as I started changing and not accepting when people were unkind to me or putting me down, that they were trying to pull me back. Have you heard of the crabs in the bucket syndrome? When one crab tries to get out, the others try and pull it back down. And that's what it was like. So, and then the more personal development that I did, I came across, I read The Secret and all of the ones that you can think of. And I came across a book called Think and Grow Rich. And it was actually one my husband brought home from work. And he said, oh, you like books? You'll like this one. So I read it and I joined a group on Facebook and I went along to a seminar. It was basically about property investing. Within my marriage, I didn't really have my own money per se. It was the money that I did gain would be to pay for my children to do their lessons or whatever, or it would go shopping or whatever. It wasn't mine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I realised that I didn't really have an awful lot of freedom financially or spiritually or emotionally. And I was trapping myself. And people don't realise that they trap themselves in the confines of their own mind. And I thought, wow, I can change other people's lives by helping them to see that there is a different way. You don't have to repeat the same cycles over and over again.
Yeah.
So I went along to the seminar and I thought, wow, yeah, this is good. I mean, my husband and I we'd separated in 2007. He'd moved back in. It was a terrible time from then anyway. And he was sleeping in the spare room when I went off to the property seminar. And he decided that he'd like to be on that journey with me.
All right, like self-development or property, the property.
Really, both. He tried to get into personal development. It was my thing, though. It was my thing, and it was me that wanted to make the massive changes. And, you know, he did try, and he did well. And he came along to the first 3-day event at the property thing. Didn't, you know, by day 2, it was absolutely awful. You know, I turned up in tears. One of the trainers said to me, you know, you need to do something about this. It was all, it was really difficult. But I knew then that if I didn't get into property, then I wouldn't have my financial freedom. And I also wouldn't be around the other people, because you realise that you need to have a coach. You need to have a mentor. You need to have someone just to guide you in the right direction. And I thought, wow, this is something that, you know, I need to grasp. That was in 2015.
Yeah.
By the end of that year, we'd put in an offer for a house. And we did that by, what did we do? We refinanced our own home. Obviously, this was a great risk. My husband didn't like big risks. But I got about £45,000 out of our mortgage for a deposit. We got credit cards of about £40,000 to do the house up, and I changed it into a HMO, like a multi-let.
So was that your first project?
That was my first project, yeah. Something that I could get my teeth into and learn. I mean, I'm not very good at numbers. I'm more of a people person, so I was able to coordinate with the builders and do everything like that, work alongside mentors, stuff like that. I wasn't the numbers girl. But when my mentor came down and said, yes, you've chosen a good house, the numbers work, this is how it will happen. So that put my husband's mind at ease. So I felt positive. I thought, we can be financially free together. We can build a portfolio of properties. We'll be happy. We'll be happy. But of course, it was an external thing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
nothing outside of us makes us happy, does it? So while we did the refurbishment, it was a really unhappy time. We had a lot of arguments, and you know, it was a bad place. But I started going to more property networking events, and I bumped into somebody else who also invested in HMOs, and he was doing a new refurbishment. And he said to me, would you like to come and see it? I said, yeah, that'd be lovely. Went down, I had a look, and we went for a coffee. And he said, why have you only got one of these properties? And I kind of started explaining about how I'd find places and the numbers weren't right, and the dynamics between me and Nick, you know, and they just weren't working. And he said, you realise this is a very destructive relationship. You know, it's abusive, you know, with the words that were being said. And I said, oh, you know, there's no hitting anymore. I won't tolerate that, because I do personal development, and that's important to me. You know, I've grown stronger. I'm a big, strong woman. I can do this. And he said, when would now be the right time to decide to leave? And I said, but he's apologised for this morning. And I went away, And it had been a long time coming, really, because a lot of friends had said to me, you need to leave, you know, and I didn't have the power within me, I don't think, or the strength or the resilience. But to hear someone who barely knew me say this isn't acceptable was really, for me, the defining moment. And I came home and it was Halloween weekend, I think, and I was going to a party. My daughter was going to a party. We had some photos together. And I was just waiting for that next moment when he would call me a bad word or, you know, make me feel bad. 4 days, and after the 4 days, I believe we had words with my daughter, or she had words with me, and she said, "Oh, I hate you," or something like that. And my husband retorted with something really negative about me, and I just said to him, she walked out of the room, I said, "Do you realise what you've just said?" And he said, "Get out of my life. I never wanted you anyway." And that was after 27 years of being together. Put my dog on his lead, and I walked out around my normal route, and I contacted this person who'd said, "I'll hold you accountable." And I said, "It's happened." He said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to. I'm scared, but I need to make the change." So that was another defining point in my life, because I made a massive decision. I didn't know how to do it, but somebody had said to me, you know, the cage door's open. All you've got to do is jump and grow your wings on the way down. And I'd saved all of these quotes on my phone. I used to read them all the time. And I thought, you know, I have to have a little bit of faith. So I took a leap of faith. And that became the next part of my story, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was
And
scary.
so you're happy now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been amazing. It's been an amazing journey, because when I got into property, I also got into Tony Robbins events, and I went along to one, Unleash the Power Within. And that was an incredible event. It really turned my life around, because I was able to look at my past and see that it was actually just the past. It was just my story, and not a very healthy story. And, you know, Suki, so many people live in that story, and they go back in that story. You know, when you're driving a car, the rear view mirror is like this, and the windscreen's like this. It's massive. And we should be looking forward in our life. You know, you go back to the past for little snippets and you take the value from them, but you can't go back there and build a tent and live there. And
yeah. So then you talk about a lot of self-love and boundaries.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why is it that important to you? Why is it your main subject?
So really, boundaries is a very tough one. If you're brought up with no boundaries, you don't know what's acceptable, and you accept whatever your parents give you, your school teachers give you. You know, I had a lot of issues as a child. I wet myself up to the age of 16, 17. And then I stopped laughing. Who stops laughing? But I did. And my life became quite joyless. And so I think for me, the journey from leaving Nick was I was working Tony Robbins events, and I was working alongside mentors and alongside men. And this is when I discovered that all men weren't abusers, and they want the best for you. They were treating me like sister, you know, they were like my brothers, and they still are. We still work together. They're amazing people, you know, women and men. I always found women to be quite bitchy and men to be scary. Life's not like that, not real life. Real people have, you know, done the inner work, if you like. So self-love for me was about discovering who I was. My biggest question when I left was, who am I? Because we were very amicable. We sold our house. I helped him to find another one that the children could live in. And I went and sofa surfed. I lived with a couple of friends. One was a life coach and into property. Amazing lady. absolutely amazing. I lived with her and her mum, and for 10 weeks. And I can't remember those 10 weeks except for the fact that they cuddled the dog lots. They allowed me to cry and wail and stomp around and, you know, did a bit of coaching with me, but they just loved me. And then I moved back to my local area in Raynham, in with a very dear friend. And I was able to, at that time, I decided that I wanted to do NLP and learn coaching for myself because Tony Robbins teaches NLP. So I did my NLP, I did transactional analysis so that I could learn about human behaviour. And I coached my friend. I helped her lose 3 stone on a network marketing business, because I think with network marketing and sales, you cannot be successful unless you can sell yourself. And I think this is why a lot of people in the network marketing industry can't succeed, because they have to have that self-worth first. People don't buy your products. You know, people don't buy my rental rooms. They buy me because I'm the product, and they like me and they like what I stand for, and that's what they're buying into. So yeah, I coached my friend. Meanwhile, I put an offer in a house at an auction, which was a very brave move. I was a very timid person. I didn't do things like that, but I went up to the London property auction. I knew which house I wanted. I visited it weekly. I'd do viewings with the agents and everyone else that turned up to the open house meetings. I'd say, what do you think of my house? Do you like it? And they would say, oh, your house, you know, thinking I was slightly unhinged, which most people do. And it had no floors, no ceilings. There was no fittings in part of the house. But I stood in that auction house and I won it. I wore bright pink shoes, a bright pink top, and I waved around my number, and I won the house. And I was flabbergasted, because I thought, wow, I've done something else on my own. And it's all about self-belief and self-love, because without that, I couldn't have done that. I didn't used to say boo to a goose, you know. Yeah, I used to shout and swear indoors, and I probably wasn't the best mum to have around, you know. I tried to control every single situation, you know. My weight, my body. So yeah, and I won the house. I employed some builders. Within 2 weeks, I'd sacked the builders because they weren't doing the job properly. But I was doing Facebook Lives, so that was another confidence booster. I was doing Facebook Lives so that I could get my face out there, so that other property investors could see, one, my progress, and that I could do these sorts of things, but also if there were things that weren't right within my refurbishment. So I put the brakes on it. I found another builder, and it took me a good year from leaving Nick and moving out on my own to moving into my own home. And the idea was to have a 3-bedroom, move my children in. I decided that, you know, obviously they were happy with their dad. And our relationship wasn't that great, you know. They were cross with me. They were angry, you know. I'd brought them up and I was this control freak, and then suddenly I'd gone on this personal development journey and I was a different person, you know. I lost all my friends and everything, but I've made greater, better friends who are supportive, who make me sure of myself.
Because it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people. Because if you like dancing, your friends need to be dancers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, I was into the personal development so much. I was quite obsessed with it to start with. I was a runner and I used to run every day. So when I first started personal development, I was already running. I became more intent with that and listening to audio books. I was getting up at 5 a.m. There were particular books that I read that guided me to making better choices about my life. And I ended up starting having a vision, which I'd never had before. A vision and goals and dreams, and I could see a future. And at the time when I was with Nick, those goals and visions were about us, what we could do together. You know, I put on my vision board, I think, the first year, I put on that I wanted to run the London Marathon. And I thought, oh, I wonder if these vision board things work.
Mm-hmm.
And the royal family were doing it. And it was about mental health. And I thought, oh, I think I suffer from mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I contacted them and I chose the children's charity Place to Be because my children had used that in the past when me and my husband split up. And I became like their ambassador because I was chosen for their media stuff. I was, I was put in their VIP lounge. I was chosen to go out first on the track. So I left with all the fast runners who were running at 2 hours. It was incredible. I met William, Harry, Kate. It was just so amazing. But and so 2017 really was a turning point because although I hadn't left Nick then, when I was out running, we've got a hill near us called Chatham Hill.
Okay.
Like that. It's like that. It's really
wow.
And I would run 16 miles and then go up this hill. And I would run up it, as running as I could. But I'd get to the top and I'd go, yeah! And if I can achieve that in that much pain, I can achieve anything. Exactly. And that gave me the tenacity to, when that person said to me, why have you only got one property? When would now be the right time to leave? That was a turning point for me because I realised I had the resilience, and you do have to build resilience and faith and, belief in yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Belief. That's the most important thing.
Oh,
that's like your self-image, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we had a beautiful large house. We had the nice car. We had the holidays to Florida. We had park views out the front. It was amazing. I had an amazing life, really. But what is a house if it's not a home? And, the love that should have been there wasn't there, sadly. And I stayed and put my children through that. That's probably my deepest regret. And I always tell people not to ever regret anything, because your past is your past and it makes you who you are today. So all of the bad stuff that you go through brings you where you are now.
Exactly. Then that makes you stronger.
Oh, absolutely. And so now, I'm on Instagram as Mel is Magnetic, because I always find that the right people come to me at the right time. The right events came to me at the right time. The right coaches and mentors came to me at the right time. And now I'm that person for other people. And I've come into their life at the right time. We're always learning and growing from other people.
Exactly.
We're either teaching or we're learning. And as I coach people, I'm also learning. So it's a progressive thing all the time. Alcohol's been a massive thing for me in my life. Not me personally, I don't drink, but the people I had around me, alcohol was a very big issue. But now I help people who do have problems with alcohol, who have problems with their weight, and, with a whole range of things. Everybody deserves a great life.
Exactly. So why do you think the alcohol, the addiction, that becomes a problem? Like how do you help people to?
Oh, right. Okay. So I think with addictions, they're there to numb a pain. Everybody has got a deep inner hurt. It might be something very insignificant to somebody else, but a word that has been said, or, even with my children, this is a great example. I'd say, I'm really sorry, we've got no pennies, if they wanted sweets in the shop. I had a really poor money mindset. I taught them a poor money mindset, really. The ice cream van used to come round and they play the tune, don't they? The ice cream vans.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They're outside. And so the children would say, the ice cream man's outside. And I'd say, oh, he's playing his music. It means he's run out. You know, the things that we say, they're crazy, aren't they? But yeah, with addictions and things like smoking, drinking, taking drugs, that is something to numb the pain, so we don't have to hear the voices in our head, and we don't have to deal with our negative self-talk. And we've all got it. I did a Facebook Live a few months back. In fact, it was the summer because I was gardening. And I thought, wow, my garden is like my mind. You know, the flowers I have to intentionally put in, and I have
Yeah.
to nurture them. But the weeds grow rampant. So if I don't keep pulling them out, these weeds are going to take over all the plants. So
Yeah.
it's, your negative thoughts will overtake anything positive that you put in unless you keep doing it. And positivity and mindset and personal development is like having a shower. You wouldn't have a shower back in February and think that you were going to be clean the whole year. You have to do it every day. So personal development and personal growth and your own mindset that you work on it's a daily thing.
It's regular work.
Yeah, you have to keep showing up to yourself. You can't just have that one shower and expect to be clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting way to look at things. But you know, what I have also learned is that everything carries energy. Everything, and this is where my motto comes from. Everything,
Yeah.
energy, you know,
Everything's energy, and like attracts like.
like does attract like. And so what I've noticed is the people that I coach are people that have been in situations like myself. And so I'm able to help them grow through it because I've been there. I know the strategies I've put in place, but I'm also able to observe and listen and find out what their specific needs are. And so with the everything is energy, when I left, I didn't take very much of my own furniture at all. In fact, the only thing I took was this dresser. But that's because I got it in a charity shop. I rubbed it down and I painted it. And it became mine. It was my project. I was so very proud of it. And so stuff holds energy as well. You know, our furniture and everything.
Everything's energy, yes.
We're all just made of atoms. I failed my chemistry because the first question was, what is an atom? And I thought, I don't know what an atom is. So I sat there, I put my name on the paper, and that was it. But now I love anything to do with like quantum physics and neuroscience and stuff like that. And so I study it a lot. I study a lot of spiritual books as well. And a lot of my clients, when we start working together, and I won't work with people unless they do certain things. They have to really want to work together. But I do end up finding that probably with the past 4 clients I've had, they've asked me to help them declutter and to start shifting the stuff in the house, because when I start talking about energy and things holding on to energy, when they start shifting stuff in their house is in their mind. Your house is a reflection of your mind.
Exactly.
And the stuff that you hold on to is a reflection of your past that you're holding on to. A lady I was helping today got very tearful because, but it was just stuff. We had a bin bag, we had a charity bag, and we were just selling stuff for her.
Oh, you've gone through like decluttering with her.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've done it with my past 4 clients now. But that's because they live locally to me. It's not something that I go and do. I'm not a speciality at it. I just know that if I'm working closely with someone who lives nearby, whilst they're having our coaching sessions and whilst they're putting their good stuff into place, it's also a good time for them to connect and for them to listen to you just talking.
Yeah.
And when they listen, and when you can listen to them, because they start to express themselves more. So you get to learn a little more about them and why they hoard certain things. You know, I've done it with my sister. I've done it with friends.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's like one of my friend, probably your friend too, Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca, yeah, she's
Yeah,
a coach. She's amazing.
yeah, yeah. And then she's starting her like 30-day challenge
She
today.
is. She is.
Uh-huh.
And she does an
And
amazing
started with
podcast.
my fridge.
Yeah,
And I've been going through my fridge and found a couple of bottles of like ingredients. I can't even remember what it was. It's only used a couple of times
yeah.
and never used again. And then because it's full bottle, it just used like just it still looks full, just still opened and getting rid of it. And then like now I open my fridge. It's just so
It feels different,
nice
doesn't it?
flowing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It does, but it makes you feel lighter inside. So
Mm-hmm.
I have my HMO. I have 5 tenants in it, and often I'll go down and I'll say to them, right, can we clear the fridge out? Whatever I don't
Mm-hmm.
belong to anybody, let's clear it out. It's important, you know,
It is.
especially with
It is.
me. I've got a big turnover of people that go in there.
Mm-hmm.
They leave stuff. The next people don't use it, you know. So yeah, but it's all about energy, and you do attract the right people. You know, when I first had the rental, the tenants that I had in there were reflective of where I was in my life. My tenants I've got in there now are superb. They're amazing
Mm.
people, and they all help each other. They're kind, they're gentle, they're generous,
Uh-huh.
they're thoughtful. They help me out, I help them out. It's really lovely. And I run from my house now where I live.
Mhm.
I run an Airbnb, and
Mhm.
I have guests coming and going. And that's
Mhm.
nice as well. So I feel like I'm adding value to other people's lives in every area of my life now, you
I
know.
think you do. I think you do. Tell
Yeah.
us your exciting news, please.
Oh, my exciting news.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite believe it, but I have been nominated for in the Kent Women in Business Awards for
Mhm.
Entrepreneur of the Year. And I was nominated by the winner of last year, my dear friend Di McCann. She's a lovely lady. She does vibrational sound therapy. She's
Mhm.
incredible. She's absolutely incredible. She's a wonderful mum. She's a wonderful friend. She's a very calm businesswoman.
Uh-huh.
And she nominated me. And she nominated me because of my kindness and
Mhm.
my encouragement, and because I want to champion every single woman in the world. I want to empower everybody. But it's not just women, because my
Mhm.
coaching has expanded really to men as well. When I left Nick, I got myself a life coach, a spiritual coach. I've only
Okay.
just got her, actually.
Mhm.
She's amazing, actually. But I also studied relationship coaching
Yeah,
because,
'cause I remember, sorry, I remember you were talking about some feminine energy and masculine energy.
yeah, you know, it's so important because, um, you know, within my past, I had a very masculine energy. Women
Mhm.
who do not feel safe create this masculine energy around themselves. So they can be louder, they can be more brash, they can be controlling, they try and push situations. Feminine energy goes with the flow. It's gentle and it's soft. Masculine is a leading energy, feminine is a following energy. So
Mhm.
there's a brilliant book called Simply Feminine, and it was written by a man, funnily enough, but he's written a beautiful poem in the beginning, and it talks about a man being like a trellis in the garden. You know, they're wood, they're a bit boring, but they're sturdy and they're strong.
Mhm.
And alone they look quite boring,
Mhm.
but you know, this is what a masculine man is. He's strong and he's sturdy. A female is like the vine that grows around that. So she flows. She's got the beauty. She wraps herself around him and his life. So she enhances his life. He enhances hers by holding her strong. and by helping her to create her dreams, which is blossoming and, you know, going forward with her dreams. So when women are in their masculine, what happens is, for example, where have you been? You're late for dinner. You didn't call me. So the woman coming. Now, a man, he's a hunter-gatherer. He'll come back, he wants to defend. So he'll come back bigger, raw. So already he's, you know, he's on the defense because he's trying to protect himself from the scary lion.
Yeah.
And then the woman will go back bigger and he'll come back even stronger. And this is what creates that destructive, abusive patterning, if you like. But since learning about masculine and feminine energy, and learning to lean into life and to go with the flow, you create better relationships and people magnetize to you because they want to work with you. They want to help you. They want to learn and grow with you, you know, because you're just adding value. You're just being you. You're not hiding behind that protective space that you want to hold for yourself.
Can I just ask, is there feminine energy? Does it only have to be for women, and the masculine energy is all about man, or man could have both sides and then women could have both sides?
Absolutely.
And how would you, what's the best balance, I guess?
Yeah, so it's a polarity, really. You've got yin and yang, haven't you? Dark and light, and one complements the other. So yeah, women do have to be in their masculine when they're, you know, if I'm trying to get money off of somebody for some business, or I'm employing a builder, you have to have a degree of masculine energy there.
Yeah.
To be able to achieve what you want to achieve. If you're driven, you've got to put your masculine energy in place, but you can also undertone that with your femininity. Likewise with men. They can be softer. They can do things like meditate, dance, do Tai Chi, or do things that are more, that bring that calm energy back. They can't be a strong, powerful person all the time. They also need that. There's a fine line, you know. Women are in that masculine all the time. The feminine energy is more argumentative. You know, a masculine energy is very straight down the line. You know, men, when they're in their masculine, are very single focused. They'll think about one thing at a time. They'll do this, they'll move on to something else. Women, they've got all things going off at the same time. You know, they're making a coffee, they're making dinner, they're doing whatever they're doing with their business, and, you know, or their life, they're chatting to a friend. Men do one thing at a time. You know, if a guy's watching football, he's watching his favourite team playing, you don't go up to him and say, so, yeah, what do you want to do tomorrow then? They're only half listening to you. And you know, then women are like, well, you never listen to me. You have to choose your moments well with men, you know, and it's just about learning how to be more adaptable, I suppose. One of the best things I've ever read was what my coach gave me. It's his book. It's called The Queen's Code. You can only get it in the States. You can get it on Kindle. It's about $7.99, I think. It's an amazing book. It absolutely has changed my life and my paradigm about men. But, you know, I have weekly coaching still with the people from the Tony Robbins environment, from that security team that I was on. You know, I run that weekly, and each week I am made to show up to myself. And I'm quite chatty on the call, as you can imagine. There's a lot of people, like a masterclass. And I want to talk a lot, because if I don't talk, I'm not learning. And he will come back and he'll say, I make you wrong there. And
So when you talk about Tony Robbins events, and some people think he's from States, so his style is completely different. And people think it's like, some people think it's not, it maybe not work in British culture.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think from every situation you can take whatever works for you.
Mhm.
He is not my only inspiration. Yes,
Mhm.
he's very jump about the room and excitable. I've also
Yeah.
worked with Dr. John Demartini. He
Mhm.
is very calm.
Yeah.
It's a classroom style. You have a book that you work through,
Mhm.
and that works more on energy in a different way. It all works on energy. Tony
Yeah.
Robbins, that is a big a big noise in the room. Then you meditate. So it's taken your psyche up. It's taken it down. It's taken it up.
Mhm.
It's taken it down, and that is what creates change in your state. When
Mhm.
Dr. John Demartini, he gets you to look at your actual structure of everything and to see that nothing's good and nothing's bad. It just is. And the events that have happened to you, you've done to other people. And that acceptance
Mhm.
is incredible. I love Bob Proctor's stuff. I love Esther Hicks. I love Esther Hicks. She's
Mm.
she's amazing.
Very calm, isn't she?
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, some people can't listen to her because she does weird stuff, you know, with Abraham Hicks.
Yeah, it's just strange. It is not really strange. It is strange, isn't it?
It's
Yes.
strange if you don't believe in that stuff, but
Yeah.
my belief span has widened so much. So
Mhm.
like I'm saying, you know, I take a lot of the stuff that I've learned from lots of different people, just
Mhm.
this, and I use that in
Mhm.
my coaching. I use that with my tenants. I use that with my coffee business. I use that when I'm just in the gym
Mm.
speaking to people. I use it all the time, you know, because different situations require a different perspective. And the main thing is to observe
Mhm.
and listen. We've got two
Perfect.
ears and a mouth, and I always use this far too much. And use this.
Imagine if we were having a two mouth in the one
Yeah,
ear.
I was like that.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, so we've just been like just over 45 minutes, and I would like to ask, what's your big dream? What's
Oh,
your North Star?
my big dream is to change the vibration of the planet, one person at a time. I'd love to expand my coaching far and wide. I know people worldwide. Um,
Mhm.
this year I've spoken to a couple of people who are going to help me to get my talks onto stages so that I can
Mhm.
get out there and share with other
Mhm.
people on how to go from where they are to where they want to be, um, and to publish my first two books. That's my biggest dream this year, is to publish my books, speak on stages, and really just to help other people change their lives, add value. That's
Mhm.
all I want to do. But I know right now, Suki, and this is what my coach said to me Saturday. He said, you don't need to talk on stages. You don't need to get that book out there. You add value every day just by being you.
Mhm.
He's so right. And everybody's got that gift. Everybody's got a gift within them. Some people just don't want to unwrap that gift.
Yeah. My friend Anne calls them your superpower.
Yes, it is
Mhm.
a superpower. And we've all got a superpower. I went to an event called the One Woman Conference
Mhm.
with a lady called Joanna Martin, and it was amazing. It was 2 weeks before I left Nick. And she said, you know, we all behave like a superwoman. We wear our pants on the outside. We wear our cape and we run around trying to do everything.
Mhm.
That's control. That's that masculine energy and that control.
Mhm.
Take off the cape and the rose tinted glasses of who you think you are and those magic pants. You can become you. And that's what I want to do for everybody, is just help them become them.
Awesome. Thanks very much for your time today, Mel.
Oh,
It's
thank
been
you.
absolute pleasure to have you here.
Oh, it's
Is
been
there
absolutely pleasure to be on.
mhm. How can, like, if the people watching you, if they want to contact you, where
Well,
can they find you? Like
yeah.
online?
So I've got a Facebook page called Inspiring Happy.
Mhm.
My website is called inspiringhappy.co.uk. They can go on there. They can find out a little more about me and my story and what I provide.
Mhm.
I do group mastermind groups to just get heads together with people, find out what's going on in their life, and
Mhm.
kind of help each other. Obviously, I've got my personal Facebook. I've got my Instagram, mel.is.magnetic. Add me on there, follow me.
Mhm.
That's also got my link on it. So, yeah, get in touch. I'd love to help whoever I can.
Yes. Okie doke. Right. Thanks so much, and thank you everyone for watching. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
And